I feel like I need a muzzle. I got that in a text from a coaching client of mine. Her name's Rachel. I stared at her words, and it hit me. I identified. The feeling of having your brain hijacked by a thought that becomes a compulsion. The feeling of being held hostage by the very food you need to stay alive. I understand that. And it damn near killed me. Now, maybe this is your story, maybe it's not. Maybe you've suffered with food compulsions, addiction, maybe not. But I have to imagine that every single one of you out there today has had a time in your life when your actions felt incongruous with who you want to be, right? And when that impacts your health, that can feel very desperate. But the gift of desperation, it is a powerful thing. Oftentimes only when we're in enough pain do we actually take action and change. And I don't really want that for you. So before we leave today, I'm going to leave you with a 3-step action plan to navigate those tricky times. They're techniques that work for me, and they led me to a life of freedom, a life beyond my happiest dreams, if I'm being honest. They also led me to my happiest vacation. About 3 years ago, my husband and I took a trip, but not just any trip. We took a trip to Disney World. Now, officially, it was a Big Brother appreciation trip. My son, Mason, had been a real trooper through the birth of my second child, Asher, and we wanted to recognize him as the individual that he is with a trip to the happiest place on earth. Now, historically, a trip presents something else along with it, for me at least. Anxiety, a whole pile of it. See, I always wanted to be one of those people who got up early for a run on the beach or packed an apple in my purse for a snack. I just couldn't do it. I'd have all this high resolve, and then it would all come crashing down, usually before I even checked into the hotel. But not this time. This time, I honestly had the happiest trip of my life. I mean, have you ever tried to frown while watching Tinkerbell zip line off Cinderella's castle? I'm pretty sure it's physically impossible. But I had the happiest trip because I made a plan and I stuck to it by asking my partner for support. I used accountability. Now, I'm a wellness podcast host, so I'm kind of on the front lines of the category, and I hear the top experts sharing on things every week, and I kept hearing this stat come up on accountability. It said that people who use accountability are 65 to 95% more likely to meet a goal. 65 to 95%. Well, that's a pretty compelling stat. So I thought maybe I should raise my hand and ask for help. And I did. And in doing so, okay, are you ready for this? I came home 3 pounds down from Disney World. Big deal for me, maybe not such a big deal for you, but what I really came home with that was maybe more important for us all is an immense amount of pride in myself, in my behavior. I also deepened my level of communication and support with my husband by using his help. And most importantly, I was present with my child on that trip. I didn't let racing thoughts of food steal my joy. I decided to suit up and show up by asking for the help that I needed. I learned a thing or two about asking for help a couple years back before that, when I really had no place to go but up. It's 6 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. I'm 23 years old. The light is streaming through my window. My alarm is going off, mocking me, attacking me. I'm sitting bolt upright on the side of my bed. because I haven't been to sleep yet. And now it's time to go to work. See, I work in public relations. I have this job at a fancy, shiny New York City tower where every day is a fashion show. But I don't really exactly feel the part. I look around me. There's people strewn everywhere in varying degrees of consciousness. I guess you could call them my friends. I barely even know them. I pick out an outfit, black pants and a ruffled top, a costume. I'm playing dress up. I'm really a slave to my thoughts, to my actions, to my behavior. I'm an addict. I trot out of my apartment and go towards the subway. Clip, clop, listen to the sound of my Manolo Blahniks going down the street. And I say to myself, never again, Jamie. It's my mantra. I say it so often lately, it's boring. In a white light moment of clarity, I realize it always happens again. If nothing changes, nothing changes, and this is too much for me to handle alone. I stop at the top of the subway stairs. People jostle by on their way to work, and I search through my purse for my Nokia flip phone. I pull it out and I call my friend Rex. He's the only person I know at this point who's gotten sober, and he told me one time, "When you're ready, kid, give me a call." I was ready. I called him, and his voice was warm and comforting, brought tears to my eyes. He told me he was going to be okay. He was going to come get me after work. We were going to work this out. But he asked me a very important question. Could I not use any more drugs between then and the end of the day when he was going to come get me? Well, I thought about the plastic baggies in my purse. I nodded sheepishly. I'll try. You guessed it. Within an hour's time, I had failed the assignment. Now, why did I fail the assignment? For the same reason I had failed the never again mantra to myself in weeks past. When we are in an addictive cycle, we are not in control of our behavior. We need help. Rex did come that night, and that actually started my 20-plus year journey in recovery. And I gotta say, life got good. It got real good. I leaned into fitness and wellness hard. I actually became a fitness influencer, and I share fitness and lifestyle hacks with my followers on Instagram. I'm a television personality sharing fit mom lifestyle hacks on shows like The View, Good Morning America, and beyond. My now husband and I even got engaged on the treadmills at Barry's boot camp. I was really coasting along until, fast forward, the birth of my first child, which should have been the happiest time of my life, became the darkest. Of course, I loved my new baby, but any other parents out there? Yeah? Okay, you feel me. I was having a hard time loving those early days with an infant. My anxiety was through the roof, my hormones were all over the place. I was using every coping tool I had ever learned. I was praying, I was meditating, I was writing so many gratitude lists, my pen would run out of ink. But I wasn't really sharing with anybody what was going on. And so eventually, I did what I know how to do. I self-medicated. But this time, it wasn't with substances. It was with food. But as an addict, I know addictive behavior when I see it. So when I realize that the carby treats I'm going to the pantry for 500 times a day have an intense hold over me, I start to get worried. I'm just gonna have one more granola bar, one more bowl of cereal, one more cookie. I have the one more, my taste buds have a conversation with my brain, and boom, I'm no longer in control of the show. And so I eat. I eat, and I eat, and I eat. And then I panic. How am I gonna fix this? How am I gonna lose the weight? I'm a fitness influencer, for crying out loud. And because of that, it's funny. I wasn't and am an influencer, and so I'm used to sharing everything with my followers, including my history as an addict. So why couldn't I fess up about this? So often we are more ashamed of our problems with food than we would be with other things, substances, alcohol. I mean, look, you want me to get up in front of a room full of people and tell a story about a deplorable cocaine binge? I'm your girl. But you want me to admit that I get wrestled into my own pantry by a box of Girl Scout cookies that will take me down until there's nothing but crumbs left in the box? I'm paralyzed with shame and embarrassment. One day, after a particularly impressive binge, I do something I haven't done in a long time. I walk into my bathroom, stick my fingers down my throat, and release all the food I've just ingested. Now, this particular day, I'm home alone with the baby, and I hear him crying in the other room. Lo doesn't really begin to describe that feeling, all because I was too scared and embarrassed to ask for help. But like I said before, the gift of desperation is a powerful thing. And that's how I found myself later that night at the threshold of my living room door, meekly mumbling to my husband, "Babe, I think we need to talk." I was ready to change. I was ready to take my life back. And that's why I made what I call my big ask. See, I believe that we can heal from food shame, reverse emotional eating by asking for help and learning how to do that correctly. So how do you do it correctly? Sounds pretty easy, right? You just ask. Well, if it were that easy, I have to imagine a lot more people would just do it. So luckily, because of my days in corporate, I learned a thing or two about structuring a project. So today, I'm going to teach you how to become the CEO of you. Because if anything I said here tonight resonated with you personally, first of all, I want you to feel seen. I also want you to know you are no longer a victim. But it takes guts and gumption. You gotta slip into that big boss chair and take action with 3 simple steps. Step 1, assess your mess. This is where you take stock of the project, right? Any good CEO knows their shortcomings, their blind spots, and you can't change what you don't admit. So ask yourself, where do I get the most triggered around food? What is the food? When in the day does it happen? And most importantly, what is the biggest secret I am keeping? Let me tell you something. We are only as sick as our secrets. And once you get them out, they no longer have power over you. Great, now you've assessed your mess. Step 2, make a critical hire. This is where you enlist that accountability partner. Are you ready for the best part? You want to hear the job description? They need no particular skills. They don't have to be a clean eater or a gym rat or any of that. They just need to be someone you can rely on. Got someone in mind? That's your person. That's the person you're going to sit down with eye to eye and share your mess. If you don't get vulnerable, if you don't tell them how hard this has been for you, you won't have their full attention. Getting comfortable, having uncomfortable conversations, it's going to become your new superpower. Step 3, one team, one dream. So that study I was talking about earlier, it's from the American Society of Training and Development. It says people have the following probabilities of completing a goal. So if you just think about the goal, I want to do this, you're only 10% likely to complete it. Not great odds. Pick a deadline, your odds raise to 40%. But tell somebody that you're going to do it. It raises to 65%. But when you actually make a check-in with that person, your chances of success lift to 95%. So what did we learn today? The key to having an accountability partner is using the accountability partner. Terrific. So here's the thing. As I round the corner towards the end of this talk, I want to leave you with a solid action item. You had that person in your mind's eye earlier, right? When I walk off the stage, what if you pulled out your phone? What if you sent them a text and scheduled that chat? And I mean schedule it. It goes on the calendar so you don't lose your nerve. Because I know this is not easy. Asking for help is not a lazy man's job. But you deserve it. You deserve to live your happiest, most free life. And it all starts with this text. One team, one dream. In closing, as a coach, the two most common trepidations I hear from people about why they don't want to ask for help. Number one, they're scared the person's going to say no. Spoiler alert, that almost never happens. Reason number two, they don't want to be a bother. Let me tell you something. By not asking somebody for help, you are actually robbing them of an opportunity to feel good about themselves, to show up for you, to be a hero. The Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "The essence of life is to serve others and do good." We were put here to connect and help each other. Don't miss the opportunity. Thank you, and namaste.